When I was living in Colorado, this was years ago, I worked at basically a call center. Worked at a couple different ones that were call center environments. And there's always like a bunch of training. One of the things about those kind of jobs is they always give you like 2 weeks of paid training. So you meet a lot of people who are just in those to find different jobs. So a lot of them don't even really want to try. But most of what those training for those jobs is getting people comfortable with talking on the phone. I know that sounds silly, but you have to sort of perform. You have to say the certain things, and you have to be able to say the right stuff if somebody asks you a question that you don't know the answer to. You can't let them know that you don't know the answer, otherwise they freak out, and it's this whole thing. Anyway, so I was in all those classes, and there was always these activities to try and like get you comfortable with public speaking. And I did theater like my entire childhood and stuff, and obviously I've been in front of a camera, so I'm really desensitized to performance and like seeing myself and stuff. I'm not going to say I don't get nervous for public speaking. I just don't. It doesn't necessarily affect my performance, if you will. The nerves of it, I just sort of like use that nervous energy to like be more of a character or push further into the part or whatever. So anyways, there's this little activity that we had to do where you got in a group of like, I think it was 3 people. So it was me and 2 other people, and put on like you had to do like an infomercial on a made up product. And so I remember thinking to myself like, oh, I'm just gonna, because it was a competition for like a $25 gift card or something, and I'm super competitive when it comes to that kind of stuff. So I was trying to think, okay, how do I win? And I remember all I did was I kept saying as the infomercial, I just kept throwing in "Don't tell my wife that" as like the punchline. So it'd be like, this is a great piece of paper and I have many of them at home, but don't tell my wife that. And I kept using that bit over and over. It didn't even make any sense. It wasn't even funny, but I just did it enough times and it just started to get a laugh as we won. But I think about how dumb that joke was, and it was kind of a stolen joke. I can't remember exactly, but from Cat in the Hat. There's a scene in the Cat in the Hat movie with Austin Powers. Austin Powers, Mike Myers. And I can't remember what the line is, but it's super similar. It's something about a sweater. Like, oh, you'd think the guy with the sweater. And it's like, it's not even funny, but you do it enough times and the stupidity of it kind of plays as a joke. It's so stupid. I had a super great day today. I was trying to fix the carburetor on a gas-powered mower that's been sitting in a shed for probably 3 years without use, and it's had like a full tank of bad gas. And I don't think the oil has ever been changed on it. So I took the carburetor apart to try to clean it out. But upon opening it up, it was just so corroded. There was just white gunk everywhere. And I haven't even seen it. It was coated. The inside of it was coated with white gunk. The gas, there's a little bit of gas that like it's, I don't know, stays with the float in the carburetor. And that was like white. It was milky. And I'd never seen anything like that. I Googled it, and it's referred to as the white death, just because it's so hard to completely get off. I don't know if I can just soak that in some sort of carburetor cleaner, or if I just have to scrape it. It seems like what people suggested was like scraping it. Other people were saying how they use like ionic vibrators or something, like what you use to clean jewelry, like they put them in there and it doesn't even clean it all out. So I don't know. I didn't have the time frame to like mess with it. So I just put it all back together, and I'm just going to sort of like figure it out. But if you know anything about small engines or anything about that carburetor situation at all, I would love for any kind of suggestions on how on if it's even salvageable. I'm assuming you probably would need to see it, but I'm going to go ahead and just tell you that when I looked up pictures of examples of what the white death looked like in a carburetor, none of them could touch how bad this one looked. So, I don't know if I just need to get a new carburetor, get a new lawnmower, or if it's worth cleaning, but I am opening that up to the hive mind of the internet to hopefully have some suggestions. I'm not a very engine or handy oriented person, so I just go off what the internet tells me. It was so fun though. I used a different mower that has a really, really tiny bag to collect the grass clippings. So I just mowed without the bag and then raked all the grass up, and Caden was helping me put the grass into the bucket, and it was just so cute because he just loves to help now. He's getting so smart, you know. Like he loves, he's just getting such a personality, and he really understands everything. He's like fully fluent in English, even though he doesn't talk fully fluent. He has his own Babel language, and he's slowly like fitting in more and more words into his Babel language. But in terms of what he can understand, I mean, he's fully fluent. You can have really complex sort of thoughts at him, and he'll pick it up. He'll kind of figure out what you're trying to say. He'll really only spawn with either excitement or displeasure, but anyways, it was a solid day. We cooked on the grill. He's also really big into water now. We've gotten him completely off any kind of milk or anything, and he's been really into drinking water, which I'm really proud of him. And I'm very proud of the fact that I can't tell you how many times people suggested that we put apple juice in the water, like dilute the water with apple juice to sweeten it, to encourage him to drink it. And Sam and I are just really trying to hold strong as much as we can against the sugar epidemic that washes over us as we grow older. I know it's inevitable, you know, he's going to eat sugar, and it's not even like I want to keep him from eating sugar his whole life. That's stupid for endless obvious reasons. But anytime that we can just avoid introducing it to him in unnecessary circumstances, the better that I feel about it. And to me, putting apple juice into water is just one of those unnecessary situations, because plain water is delicious in its own right, and I'm a big water drinker, so I'm so happy that he's just so into drinking his water. You know, he's a big water guy. It's the little victories of parenting that make it all worth it. It's crazy how you know, like I was telling Sam I think it was just this morning, I was saying how like nature has it like perfectly balanced. I've said before, I don't think at this point, you know, I can't speak going forward. I'm sure it just continues to get more challenging in all kinds of different ways that I'm not even prepared for. But as of now, I don't find it to be, I wouldn't describe parenting as like this very hard thing. I think it's an additional challenge. Your life is full of challenges, and then you add this additional challenge that's very constant and there's no breaks from it. You know, there's never a break from parenting, and I think that in itself is sort of what people are referring to when they talk about how difficult it is to be a parent. And in that regard, I absolutely agree and acknowledge it. But it's funny how it's also like the most rewarding thing. You know, it's like it's very weird in the fact that you can say like dada once or daddy, you know, call my name, and that like there's something so deeply animal instinct, you know. It's like nature's got it all figured out. They know exactly how difficult to make it versus how rewarding to make it, where it balances all out perfectly, you know. I mean, there's a reason you could have, I can understand how you could have the most nightmare child ever and you would still want to have another kid, or you would still want to do it all over again with a kid. It's something that I think is only subjectively experienceable. I think that's why you can tell people endlessly who don't have kids how worth it is to have kids. And for them, in their subjective experience, they're correct. It is not worth it to have kids. But then when you have your own subjective experience, it's like a chemical thing. I compared it before I had children, when I was coming into it, and I think it's a pretty fair comparison that I hear hallucinogenics said the same way, where it's like you don't understand until you've done it. You don't realize you're missing out on doing hallucinogens until you've done it. And I mean, that's totally how it is with kids. It's like you definitely don't look at a couple of parents with some wild kids at Buffalo Wild Wings and think, I'm missing out on it. Like you'll never feel that until that's you. And then you look at it and you realize like that's all part of in a way, dealing with their wildness at a Buffalo Wild Wings is part of the fun, because it's such a challenge. It's also like working out. It's like, how could running 5 miles be fun? Well, it's not that, but that's not the point. That's not why you do it. It's for the reward and the sense of accomplishment and the sense of pride that you get for doing it, you know? So, but kids is just an amplified version of that over a long period of time. So in a way, it's like your biggest project. And in that aspect of it, for me, is super fun. I love a challenge, and I love a challenge that takes a long-term commitment, given the right kind of circumstances. And that's something that's, I think, only newly come on to me in the last maybe 7 years. But I think you got to find things that have that perfect balance of challenge and reward, that flow state, as they call it. Because if something's just too hard, or not even hard, but if something is just something you just don't enjoy, you're never going to hit that flow state. It's always going to seem too hard. But if you find something that you enjoy and you give yourself the hardest version of it, it's like, no matter how hard you make this, I'm still going to enjoy it. And as animals, chemically and biologically, we are built to enjoy raising kids. Not everybody, there's obviously some exceptions to that rule, but I'm speaking generally. There are definitely some people out there who I don't think enjoy raising children, but those are some obvious examples, and those people typically aren't around for raising those children, whether it's physically not around or emotionally not around. But that's a whole different conversation. Got a long week of video making ahead of me, both stuff you'll see here and stuff you won't see. I have a big fundraiser actually coming up that means a great deal to me, so I will be asking once again for your financial support in terms of donating money to a cause that I think is really important, not just to me, but I think to the state of New Hampshire, southern state of New Hampshire, and I firmly believe that. So, hopefully you'll find some kindness in your heart to give $1, $2, $1,000. It's up to you. But that video is going to be coming, as well as I'm going to be testing the theory of whether or not it's faster to back into a parking spot or to pull into a parking spot straight ahead. And I'm not just talking about me, I'm talking about everybody. I'm going to be doing a bit of a scientific experiment that I think will be quite interesting to all of you, because I think everyone's got an opinion on that subject, especially if you live in New England, because people in New Hampshire and New England are very big on backing into spaces. So that's coming as well. But that's it. A little conscious, thought I'd hit you with a little stream of consciousness tonight. And I'm going to go hopefully get everything done, because I'd like to just kick back and watch some TV tonight, because it's the end of a long weekend and I want to relax before the work week gets started. So thank you all very much.